I really love to fish swim jigs. They're a very realistic, easy to fish bait. You don't have to overthink it for a lot of ways to fish it. You basically can pull up to a variety of cover, be it emergent vegetation, submergent vegetation, docks, rocks, anything that's gonna hold fish, and swim this bait by it and generate and trigger a reaction strike a lot of times.
Oh, fish what's in front of you. Sometimes that's all you gotta do. And I mean, honestly, there's no telling how many fish are released right here from different tournaments that they have, and it just looks right as a place to go fling one for a little bit. You know, throwing a little swim jig up through this. You could throw a spinnerbait, but there's not a lot of wind coming through here. And the problem with throwing a spinnerbait a lot of times, in my opinion, in that little water wheel that's coming out, it's hard to fish it through the middle of it. Now all the bites I've had right now have actually been out in front. So we'll just see. Boy, that was a non-aggressive bite for a swim jig. He just kind of came up and he just fell off. Come back here. I mean, I could have the wrong color. I don't know. These fish I'm getting bites, small ones. But like that fish there, he's been caught before. I didn't do that. He just kind of came up and, you know, mouthed it. I more jerked him out of the water than I did anything. You know, I think as fishermen, we question everything all the time, and color is one of the key ones. You know, I've developed kind of over the last few years that I try to stay within my comfort zones, the green pumpkins and the white, you know, things that look like a bluegill, things that look like a shad, things that look like a crawfish, depending on the bait that I'm using. And right now, I would have thought, and you never know till you launch your boat, that there'd been a shad spawn going on, but the water temperature is really warm, so I'm not seeing shad, but I am seeing some fry. Not sure what kind of fry that is, but these fish are not aggressively taking the bait. I'm not feeling the bite. I'm seeing the bite more than anything. So they definitely like the swim jig. They definitely want to eat it, but I'm not convinced I'm throwing the right color. I'm just kind of getting a reaction bite right now. And you know, the tail may be too bright on this. I may need to make everything a little more subtle. Those are the things as a fisherman, if you can figure that out, that really pays a big dividend. That's better than that. Maybe a small. Another small one. Man. We are getting a lot of bites to not catch a keeper. Go back in there and grow up. Kind of confused, honestly. I would have thought there'd been a shad spawn and we could catch some better fish probably on a shad spawn. These fish, there's some fry in the water. It's probably shad fry, I would think. I'm not sure. And we're getting a lot of bites, but they're all about the same size. So we're just gonna keep covering water till we figure out, is it a location type deal, or is it a bait deal, or do we just need to do something totally different? This morning has really started off a lot of fun. I have quite a few bites on that Secret Lure swim jig with a Big Bites Kamikaze swim on trailer, but I've caught, I don't know, half a dozen. I've had another half dozen bites, and most of them have been fairly small. Now that the sun's getting up, it's getting a little brighter, I kind of feel like I need to be flipping something in here, maybe getting a little deeper, try to catch a bigger one. You know, the big ones may have already moved way out on the ledge. It's hard to say right now because I haven't gotten any of those bites. I find it impossible to believe that I can't get a few 3-pound bites flipping some of this type of cover just based on my history here. But every time you go fishing, it's different. Every trip, I mean, the conditions are different. It's been warmer this year than it has in years past, so it's highly possible that this deal is already passed and I'm fishing memories, which can be a mistake. But right now we are still getting a few bites, so we're gonna keep doing this till we don't get bites and we'll go do something else.
Speaking of doing something else, when it was time to tie on a new trailer, Wade realized he ran out of the color he was using and decided to switch up his presentation.
Well, lack of preparedness, my swim-on trailers are not handy. So we are going to go with a kamikaze crawl, which is a great flipping bait, but I've actually used it to swim before. One of the things that I felt, and I can't prove it, the water's really clear. And I had a very chartreuse set of legs on my kamikaze swim on. It was very bright. It was generating a lot of strikes, so we'll see if it doesn't, but this is a little more subtle. I kind of felt like a lot of the bites I was getting, those fish were just kind of getting it up and turning it down and kind of mouthing it, and I feel like they should have been a lot more aggressive. Look at that. 3 casts. I'm not gonna say we had a clue what we were saying or doing, but that bit pretty good and he thumped it pretty hard. So that's pretty fun. Not a big one, but a bite. I thought that was gonna be our 3-pounder since y'all were all down there taking a break. I caught all my camera guys taking a break down there. Thought I had us a good one, but they all scramble. Cody's got a cracker in his mouth. Gentry's taking a picture. That's still a fun bite. We're still getting bites on the swim bait, or I mean on the swim jig, so it's kind of hard to put it down.
You know, when I look at swim jigs, there's so many different options out there. For me personally, that means I've been fishing with the Secret Lures MVP swim jig, and there's a lot of things I really like about that particular swim jig. The northern version is basically a 1/4 ounce swim jig with a 5/0 medium gauge mustad hook. The southern version is a 3/8 ounce with a 4/0 heavy gauge hook. In addition to that, they've got a 1/2 ounce one that features a 5/0 saltwater hook, and it's specifically built for braided line. They also are very well balanced, have a gliding action that's been really perfected for each of the weights, and the skirt can be, you know, customized to the application that you're going to be looking to use them, which really pays off for a lot of the people that are going to be, you know, looking at different types of bluegill colors specifically, because there's so many different colors of panfish across the nation that you're going to want to match your trailer and specifically the skirt of your swim jig too.
While fishing Wilson Lake yesterday, Wade discovered there was a decent swim jig bite in the area. This afternoon, Wade is back on the water to talk with us specifically about swim jig fishing.
There he is. Right out on that windy point, you know, really should, if you think about it, that's probably the best place for that. Oh gosh, lost him right there. Dadgummit. That's really where that fish should have been. I mean, he was right there on the point of that grass where the wind's kind of blowing in. Sets up great for an ambush point. That fish just absolutely smoked it, about 1.5 pounds fish. I had it on good hook set, good in there, and he got down in all that grass, and they can just tear that hook out when they do that. But you know, if you were lining up a place that makes sense to throw a swim jig, honestly, that's about as good an angle as you could expect. Got rocks, emergent vegetation, wind blowing on it, fish was there, but the angler failed to execute and finish that one off. We'll get to the next one. Got it. That one there was deeper into the hole. Same about similar size to what we caught yesterday, but still fun. Go back and grow up. You know, that one came out of that hole, and when we stopped here yesterday, I missed several fish coming through here, and I actually, well, we're bouncing around. I actually decided to come back over here because the other side of the lake, which is calmer, everybody's over there fishing. Every pocket's got 2 and 3 boats, and I thought, man, I'll go over here and kind of plink down this windy side and hopefully find some of these holes that aren't as windy and see if we can't catch some, because we weren't even hardly able to fish for all the boat traffic over there, and here we're dealing with all the wind. So, but I'll take it. We captured one.
Sometimes in fishing, the action can go from 0 to 100, and that's exactly what happened on Wilson Lake. While our main cameras may have been on a break eating crackers, that's why we always have an action camera or two constantly running, so we don't miss awesome moments like this one.
Chunky thing, isn't he, right there? He's got some shoulders on him. Let him go. That's the kind of bite you like to see right there. It's hard to capture all this, but you can see I'm at the end of the grass right here. A little bit lighter weight one right here, 1/4 ounce. I mean, this water is only 2 to 3 feet deep that we're fishing. Out here on the edges, I probably could throw that half, but swimming through this, through the top, and I'm dropping it, letting it fall, twitching it, letting it drop, letting it fall. And you know, on the fall, a lot of these bites are coming in those holes as I run it into that grass, and that one there just smoked it. I mean, he'd already swam probably 4 or 5 feet before I was able to pick up and catch up with him, and got lucky that it didn't rip out of his mouth that time, because a lot of times when those fish get their head turned down and they get to go in that direction, you're in a bind. That was a classic drop the rod, swim jig bite.
That's a wrap on all things swim jigs. We hope you enjoyed hanging out with us on the water today. And if you want to get in on the swim jig action, head on over to secretlures.com and pick up some swim jigs for your next trip on the water.